The next big story on this week's Xbox list affects, of course, all gamers, not just Xbox gamers, but Irrational Games. One of the most respected, seemingly successful, at least by their track record, development studios in the world, is effectively Ken Levine is locking the door and turning off the lights and walking home.
Yeah, that was a strange story. So, Ken Levine wrote up a blog that went up, just Irrational. If you went to Irrational's website, that was just the blog there.
Every link reroutes you to that.
Yep. And it's, I mean, they sort of tried to package it around the fact that Ken and 14 or 15 other folks from who we assume are from Irrational are sort of taking the studio in a more like smaller narrative replayability approach.
Replayable narrative direction.
Yeah, like
single player.
Yeah, so their games will be made inside of Take-Two.
See, the way I read it was that Irrational is going away. And that this will be a new thing.
See, Ken's phrasing here is really specific. He says, Irrational as you know it is going away. And to me, what that says is Ken is taking his bag, taking his ball, taking his brand name, and going inside the walls of Take-Two, and we
keep doing it
every time. It's the same thing.
It's really not, though, because like there are different measures of control under those branches.
Well, whatever, for all intents and purposes. It's the same thing.
I mean, and they're going under the ones with way more control.
Yeah.
So Ken is, I assume, taking all of that stuff, starting a new office, working for Take-Two, and making a new Irrational Games with his 15 buddies to make these games.
Yeah.
Was this his choice?
Yeah, because he was going to go indie. He was just going to quit. And go make games on his own.
Well, there are conspiracy theory options here.
Sure, and this is all
that's what I was getting at.
This is very public relations messaging. There could be way more to this than
because we all know that Bioshock Infinite took a long-ass time to make.
7 years is a long time.
And a lot of money. And so, because there was a rumor that broke out today before we recorded that a year ago they were told if it didn't sell like way more than Bioshock 1 that 2K was going to close the studio. And I mean, it's a plausible scenario simply because, at some point, as brilliantly creative as Ken and his team are, from a sheer business perspective, you can't spend that much money and that much time on a game. And even, it's going to sell 5 million, which Bioshock Infinite has, but that's not going to offset the cost. And so
your returns are so minimal
you
that
can't
it's not
continue
worth the
on like that. So the question is, Mitch, is this sort of 2K allowing Ken to sort of put a happier face on this, and were they just going to close the studio if this didn't?
I don't know. I really feel like maybe there was something there, like if something was going to happen with the studio and Ken was like, you know what, if that's how it's going to be, I'm going to go do my own thing over here. And from there, maybe it became a baby don't go situation.
Entirely possible as well.
Maybe their plan was to get rid of Irrational but bring Ken inside.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe one of the big things that we haven't mentioned is that, over 100 people lost their jobs.
Yeah.
And obviously really talented people. Anyone who played Infinite knows that everyone, like, that game is incredible.
Yeah.
And so, Mitch and I did a conversation yesterday, and we were trying to find this sort of look on the bright spot, and it's that, if you look at the sort of legacy of, studios like 2K Marin, like a lot of the folks who ended up, leaving there ended up, forming their own indie studios and making things like Gone Home and The Novelist and Eldritch. So, like, silver lining of this is maybe, instead of having all these amazing people work on one game, you're going to see these people work on 10 different games.
Very true.
So,
Very true. It's still tough, though, because, they're outside of Harmonix, they're Irrational was really it as far as the Boston area goes. So you're looking at a lot of these now out-of-work people that, hopefully certainly will find work, whether it's, starting new studios or joining. We saw a lot of posts like a lot of shows of support from Naughty Dog and from Epic
and BioWare.
From like, hey, we're hiring, let's talk. But that means uprooting your family from the Boston area and having to move far, far away to keep your career going. So that's a really tough scenario.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's not a lot of other companies in Boston either.
No,
really.
Well, just Harmonix is the only one that I know of. So best wishes to all affected, and the future of Ken Levine will be very, very fascinating. I mean, this is a guy with who has earned the reputation as being one of the best. I mean, System Shock 2 is it's on my top, my all-time games list.
I mean, and when you look at the 4 proper games Irrational made, System Shock 2, Freedom Force, the original Bioshock and Bioshock Infinite, like that's incredible. Incredible force.
That's a nice portfolio if you can get your hands on it.